Hello my dear friends, welcome to my channel or welcome back. My name is Sarita, so happy to see you today. I had a really punishing week at work, but I put in a buy online, pick up in store order when there was the perfect like overlapping moons and the sun and the stars in the right place, and it was like a $12.95 plus I had a 20% off coupon plus the Halloween things were out. You know what I mean? When everything's just aligned perfectly. I went for it. So I went and picked up that order today, this morning at Bath & Body Works, and it was the first time that I had seen the big Halloween display, so I was super excited and almost overwhelmed by it, and picked up a couple things. Spoiler alert, the snakes. Oh my gosh, probably one of the best bargains right now on the floor, and they're going very quickly. Last I looked, that snake wraparound candle holder is not on the website anymore. It says it's sold out and won't allow you to buy online, pick up in store anymore, any locations for like 100 miles around me. So I think there's a run on them, and there's a good reason, because it's probably the best bargain that you can get right now for Halloween decor / accessories. I have one here. We're gonna unbox it. We're gonna talk about it for sure. And I also want to talk to you about the Halloween things. And I also want to talk to you about some of the fall candles that dropped about the same time, and a couple fall candles that I did end up picking up. So I'm going to start out with the Halloween stuff, and I'm going to watch my time because I have a tendency to talk, and I don't want this video to be like an hour and 45 minutes. So if it starts looking like I'm going on too long, I'm going to divide this video into two and just do the Halloween stuff and then do the other fall stuff. But if it looks like I can kind of get all the way through everything in about 45 minutes, I'll try to do that. Okay? Bargain? Deal? Let's start out with Halloween. So I was watching Kent Candle Channel last night as I was walking, and he just, oh my gosh, he was like verklempt over the Halloween display. He could not stop waxing eloquent about how amazing the display was. So I kind of already was bracing myself for a really impressive display, but man, he was not lying. The Halloween display this year from Bath & Body Works is on point. And a little bit of an overcompensation, I think, because last year, I think they had like 3 candles and like 6 accessories. They could all put them on like one end of a table. It wasn't really that big of a thing. I'm not a huge Halloween person myself, but if you go back to the video, and I haven't, but I remember saying it. If you go back to the videos and watch the tapes, I said last year, what is Bath & Body Works doing not cashing in on the Halloween? You know, every year Halloween becomes much more of a commercial moment. I mean, everybody does Halloween, and it runs the gamut really from like uber, like almost horror snuff film kind of terror, all the way to like cutesy Halloween stuff and the dancing skeletons and, you know, all that kind of thing, and the pretty ghosts, to like the candy and the children and the trick-or-treat genre. I mean, it's really like a lot of different modes and vibes in the entire Halloween commercial experience. Surely Bath & Body Works needed to tap into at least one of them. And I totally get if like the horror snuff film genre is not kind of Bath & Body Works' vibe. It's very few mainline candles vibe across the board. Kringle is probably the one candle company that does it, and does it extraordinarily well. But even Homeworks last year had like 4 or 5 Halloween candles. Like, even Homeworks did more than Bath & Body Works. And we didn't see from Bath & Body Works last year like the cute like pocket backs and all the different things. And I just thought to myself, who is in charge at the home office? Like, this is a huge, huge moment. they do more for Valentine's Day than they did for Halloween last year. And I think that that's like a major like priority mismatch. So I'm very happy. Somebody heard me. Somebody heard me. It was me, probably, right? Now, somebody in the home office woke up and got their shit together because this year, wow. Now we have 3 or 4 huge displays. So here's a picture of kind of the opening display that was in the front as you come in the door, at least for my particular store. This entire front area was, for the most part, vampire's blood. And then there's a picture here from the side, the other side as well. So this was mostly all vampire's blood in the front. I mean, the displays are so huge that frankly, like this entire front was just one candle with all of the flanking products and body care items, etc., etc. Vampire's blood is actually not a bad fragrance. It's kind of a nice like raspberry forward kind of fragrance with a little bit of depth and a little bit of richness. And it's not overwhelmed with the body care or soapy dimension. So it's actually not a bad little fragrance. For my money, I like raspberry rosé better, but you know, it's pretty good. And it's very apropos with the name and with the branding, with the marketing of Vampire Blood. So that was like the entire front. And then off to the side, they had another big display for Ghoul Friend, and it's kind of a magenta color, so kind of similar, also really, really nice. And then the big like moment was a new fragrance. They actually have 2, I think, new Halloween fragrances for this year. One of them is Candy Apple Cauldron. Look at this display. Woo! Look at that green. Oh, it's such a Halloween green. It's just so fantastic. And those like eyes, the eyes on the bag, right? Oh my gosh. It really was a stunning display. Candy Apple Cauldron is actually not bad of a fragrance either. I have to be honest. If it hadn't been like a crazy, ridiculous, like $39.99 price point on the candle, by the way, they're excluded from the $12.95 sale because Bath & Body Works has finally realized that they can't offer those at the leveler sales anymore. And I mean, it's true, especially if you're gonna, it's one thing if you're gonna include them in the leveler sale like 3 or 4 weeks from now. And who knows, maybe we will see that like down the road. Those candles that were excluded initially from the leveler sales will be included in later leveler sales if they're still on the floor. But honestly, from a business perspective, it really does make sense. Your first weekend when you've got those really high-priced Halloween candles out with the fancy lids and whatnot. And by the way, the lids are really nice. They've got these holographic, scary things on top. Sometimes the lids are like, ugh, that just looks like really tacky and I'm paying $10 extra for it, you know? These lids are actually pretty cool. I'm not a lid person per se, but I also like, these are not my candles for the most part, so like I'm okay with it. And the people who tend to like these candles like the decor. They love the house looking like movie set of a graveyard or something like that. So this is definitely the moment for those amazing looking lids, if there ever was one. I'm like losing my train of thought. The Candy Apple Cauldron, it was a really good scent. Yes, the 30, what I was trying to say is you have to allow the people who really, really want these candles and will probably spring for them even full price or with a coupon. You've got to allow them to do that. You really do, before they start to hit the other demographics that like maybe wouldn't spring for it at $39.99, but they would at $29.99. And then there's still going to be people that are, no, it's too much for me. It's too much for me, right? Then weeks later, they'll capture that crowd with an even lower price point. They really have to do that, because if you're going to give a leveler sale on the same weekend that you bring out your Halloween candles and you're offering them for $12.95, come on now. They're going to fly off the shelves and you're not going to make the coin that you need to make. So I I understand, and I actually kind of support Bath & Body Works not including them, at least in this initial leveler sale. I would like to see them including them, or at least kind of lowering us by degrees with those price points, because there's a whole host of people that actually might buy that Candy Apple Cauldron, but they're not going to spring for it at $26.99, or they're not going to spring for it perhaps even at $19.99. But if they're still around after all the folks who would buy them at that price point have, then I can see them offering it for less. And I think that that's probably the way that they can and should do it, given how hypey the Halloween situation is. And I know the sticker shock is like ridiculous, but I think for those of us who don't decorate Halloween and don't celebrate it in that way, I think we need to just kind of receive and respect the fact that there's a lot of people in America who do celebrate it that way and will absolutely pay $39.99 for that fancy looking candle with the crazy lid and all that sort of thing. It is the case, and I fully support Bath & Body Works kind of getting their money's worth. They have definitely put the thought and care in. All right, close parentheses. Candy Apple Cauldron is actually a pretty good fragrance. It's an apple fragrance. It's very apple forward. And it's not dissimilar to like a Cider Lane or something like that, because it's got a little bit of depth, a little bit of you-know-what kind of on the bottom, right? And then it's a very bright, forward, authentic apple. But I do have to say that the apple note is a little bit tangy, a little bit bitey, a little bit sharp, which is actually super appropriate for that big green neon gross Halloween kind of packaging, and also kind of the implication that this is like a green apple, you know, one of the sharp ones, rather than one of the more sweet or palatable like red ones or whatever else, Honey Crisp, etc. It works so well, not only for the holiday, for the marketing, for the branding, but it also just works like across the board as not being redundant of maybe other apple fragrances that we absolutely see and will continue to see from Bath & Body Works. So I'm happy with Candy Apple Cauldron. Does it change my life? No. If it wasn't the fancy thing, would I probably buy one? Yeah, I probably would. Again, that is a fragrance, as with Vampire's Blood, that is fruity and that is sweet and that is very mainline, but at the same time isn't overwhelmed with the soapy body care kind of Bath & Body Works cliche, which is very impressive given that they went for the body care flankers on every single one of their candles this year. I mean, every single one. They're not giving us one-offs that's just a candle. Oh, you got it in the wallflower. You've got it in a shower gel. You've got it in a lotion. You've got it in a lip gloss. You've got it in every conceivable format, no question. Considering that, it's impressive that it actually is not like one of those super uber body care kind of fragrances. So I'm impressed with it. I can't go so far as to say that it has gravitas, but it's nice. It's nice, and it's even a candle that perhaps I could burn. For obvious reasons, I didn't pick it up, but the packaging and the label on it is so nice. Look at this. It's got this holographic thing, but it's like monotone with that like amazing green color. It just works. It really works before you even get to the lid with the holograph and the scariness. It's really on point. So that's Candy Apple Cauldron. The other one that everybody's really excited about is this spooky Moontini. Looks like this. Again, a really cute package. This was one of the few offerings, in fact, the only candle that was given to us without like a fancy lid. Ghoul Friend, and actually, I think Ghoul Friend and Vampire Blood have like budget, the budget ones with like the dancing skeletons, and then they have like the premium version with the crazy lid. I think there's like both of those options. I don't think Spooky Moontini came out in a luxury one though. I think it was just like the dancing skeleton. Anyway, it works. It's kind of cute. Like even I can get behind it. It's almost a little like Day of the Dead, just a tiny bit without like being full sugar skull. Just a little bit kind of in the vibing. And then it's got the jack-o'-lantern with the like skeletons. It's cute, but it's also spooky, and the colors are just really nice. The blue, that blue like periwinkle kind of color on Spooky Moontini is actually really, really pretty. The fragrance is not bad. It's definitely not my fragrance. And I don't have the notes for you, but it's definitely like it's a candy fragrance a little bit. It kind of reminds you of like one of the Skittles or something like that. You know what I mean? Like a Skittle in your mouth. Again, though, not overwhelmed with body care. So it's not bad if you like candy candles. I don't like candy candles, so I probably wouldn't buy it, but it's not, again, even that one kind of has a little bit of thought and restraint to it, so it's fine. So that's Spooky Moontini, and that is, oh, I forgot the Wicked Vanilla Woods. Okay, so Wicked Vanilla Woods looks like this. Oh man, it's like one of those really fancy lids because it's got the snake on the top of it. I think the snake is done a little bit better this time than whatever the one was last year. What was Everlasting Magic the one that was with the snake last year? If so, Everlasting Magic is at least on the website with like this crazy like snow globe that's got like a haunted house in it, and it's like it's a crazy price point, like it's $69 or $70 or something like that. I didn't see it on the floor, but if you're looking for Everlasting Magic, I think it might be an online exclusive with that snow globe. The Wicked Vanilla Woods now has the snake thing on it, and it was nice, but it's really, really weak. So apparently Wicked Vanilla Woods has been primarily a body care item. Now it's a candle coming out for this holiday season. It had a little tiny spot in one of the displays. It came out in a single wick. So the single wick looks like this, like a completely different packaging vibe. So it's kind of weird because all of the other Halloween candles kind of kept its own vibe. So even if it was like a premium versus the dancing skeletons, it was all kind of in the same vibe. Wicked Vanilla Woods was the only one where it was like, here's the premium version, and then we just went with a completely different color scheme and idea for the one wick and for the body care. It's like this crazy blue color, like a really bold one. I don't know that it screams Halloween so much, but yeah. So Wicked Vanilla Woods, weirdly enough, to my nose, Wicked Vanilla Woods single wick smells different than Wicked Vanilla Woods 3-wick. So the 3-wick one with the snake is, first of all, a lot weaker of a smell than the single wick, but it's also a little bit more sophisticated and a little bit creamier and sandalwood and muskier, whereas the single wick Crazy Blue was very body care, and it smells almost exactly like the body care components. Whereas like the premium version didn't smell as body care, it was almost like it was a different fragrance. So don't get me wrong, it's the same fragrance. I think it's just, I don't know, they must have been poured at different times, and I'm not really sure what happened there, but even in terms of marketing, and there's a real like split personality between those two. So I don't really know what that is. But anyway, the snake vanilla, whatever, spooky, wicked vanilla woods looks especially gorgeous on the snake display. Oh my gosh, here's a picture of it. Look. What? Stop. So gorgeous. I kind of have a thing for snakes, and especially when I was like young, you know, like in my teens and then my 20s, like snakes were like a huge thing. It was kind of like when Angelina Jolie went through her like crazy phase. Like now she's like mother of the world, like Mother Teresa, and she has all her children that she got from Africa or whatever, you know. But like, do we remember when like she had a vial of blood that she wore around her neck? You know what I mean? Like, she was crazy. Most people wouldn't have let her dog sit. I mean, she was just insane, right? Well, I kind of went through a phase like that too, where you're like, I'm a wild girl, you know. Snakes were my thing. So anyway, guys, I got the snakes because the snakes are where it's at. So when I saw that candle holder, I was like, That is gorgeous. And the price point, folks, that snake candle holder comes in at, hold on to your seats, $29.99. It's a metal, like really nice snake holder. We're gonna look at it right now because I'm gonna unbox it for you. $29.99. I think it has to, for sure, be the best buy of like all of their Halloween offerings this year. And like I said, there's a run on it. It's for good reason. This is a product that they could 1000% offer for $60. And I don't think anybody would bat an eye, myself included. So my friends at Bath & Body Works gave me one, a styrofoam one from the back. So we're just gonna unbox it here. So this is what this baby looks like. Look at him. Look at his face. Yeah, he's scary. And I kind of appreciate that they didn't like put like tacky rhinestone eyes or something like that. That would just kind of cheapen it. It's just so cool. And it is metal, not plastic. All right, so let's take this thing out. It looks like this. We're gonna take this styrofoam thingy out. Looks like this. Whoa. Yes! Oh my gosh. It's a yes for me. So, I mean, it's not, in fact, maybe it is plastic. Now that I just said it was metal, it seemed like it was metal, but maybe it is plastic. Or like a metal plated plastic. I don't know. Look at him. He is mean. He is bad. Look at his eye. He's a bad guy. All right, so obviously there's this like ridiculous label here, so you definitely want to pull that up because the candle actually sits right here on top. As you can see, there's a recessed thing right here in the snake. So let's just put a nice little Bath & Body Works candle here. Look at that. Look at that, folks. So as you can see, you want to remove that label because it kind of takes away from the ambiance, you know. You could just pull it out, I think. I hope it's like one of those labels that comes off nicely and isn't like you have to use rubbing alcohol and the whole thing. But anyway, it does slip a little bit, but because it's recessed, like it's not gonna come out. Ah! It's pretty big. Look at him. Like I said, I think they could easily ask $50 for this, no question. No question. I don't even care if it's plastic. It's sturdy. They could offer like $60 for it. No question. 50, $60. Go get one. You better get one. $29.99. I almost felt bad using my coupon. I had a 20% off coupon. It took $6 off of this. I got this for $24. Highway robbery. That's probably why they pulled it off the website. Somebody lost their job. We're offering that for what? There are a lot of other products. So there was like the hearse, you know, the hearse that's like light up, and it's $99. I don't know, for my money it looked a little tacky. It was very kind of plastic looking. I wouldn't pay $99 for it. I wouldn't even pay $50 for it, even if it was like my vibe. That is a product that looks cheaper than probably what it is, whereas this one looks more expensive than what it is. Yeah? My snake, he's so pretty. And then I couldn't help it because like the store associates were like enablers. So like, oh, have you seen the mirror? And I'm like, oh, I don't need the mirror. But I was like, but is it in the back? Can I look at it? And I asked her, I was like, it's probably like super tiny, isn't it? She's like, it's actually not too bad. It's not too big. This actually does have a little bit of weight to it. Folks, here is the mirror right here with another baby snake right here. So this is, I guess women use these, you know, like to put the perfume bottles and whatnot, but I suppose you could probably use it for almost anything. Could you use it as a wall mirror? I don't know. Maybe. It'd be kind of weird. By the way, it looks bubbled, but it's really not. It just has one of these, you know, like plastic things on it. So I'm going to leave it on while I decide what I want to do with it. This metal part here is a little on the cheap side, but this part isn't. And like I said, it has a little bit of heft to it. This is $34.95. So again, with the 20% off, it was like in the $26 range. And I was like, fuck it, yes, yes. Give me 2 snakes. Give me 2 snakes. I love them. So, I'm not exactly the like crazy Halloween person. I don't do skeletons. I don't do that kind of thing for the most part. But man, I'll go a long way for a snake. So I got lots of snakes now, and I just really highly recommend that you check them out because, you know, you look at something online and you're like, that could be really tacky looking. But looking at it in person, it's actually not. It's much better than it even looked on the website. And then when I saw the price point, I was like, this is crazy. This is one of those things that you buy for full price and you feel like you got a bargain. So probably Bath & Body Works made a mistake there because I think they probably could have offered both of those items for more than they actually did. Okay, closing it up with the Halloween stuff, I agree with Kent that it is head and shoulders better than last year's. But that bar is pretty low because they definitely dropped the ball on Halloween last year, although they did give us a few offerings and at least one very nice Halloween candle that I'm going to talk about in a second. So on that note, and I agree with Kent too, the display looks fantastic. It really does. And Bath & Body Works they don't mess around when it comes to displays. I mean, do you remember the Tropidelic display, for instance, from like January this year? It was a gorgeous display with the huge tropical flowers. Bath & Body Works really knows how to do a display well and to roll it out to all of the stores and allow it to be something that is easily assembled, easily set up, and really makes a big difference. They had the beautiful greenhouse for the greenhouse candles, again in January or February. Then they had the nice like Bridgerton display. They've done like a really, really good job, but they really did knock it out with the Halloween. It looks fantastic. It really does. It looks like a Halloween store. It's definitely matching, I think, the energy of consumers now for Halloween. So I think it was a huge success for Bath & Body Works. Is there room for improvement? I still think yes, but please take these as just kind of friendly suggestions for the future rather than like overt criticisms of what it is that they've done that is really, like I said, extremely impressive, no question, full marks, etc. Here are some things that I wouldn't mind seeing though. So, the packaging is fantastic. It is a little on the cutesy, childish side. And I think that it's really fantastic having, I think leaning into that more cutesy, childish dimension of Halloween is smart. It's smart for Bath & Body Works. It's smart for their demographic. It's just smart for the vibe of their store. They don't want to go uber dark. Frankly, it's not the store for that. It's not the vibe, and it's not their demographic, their consumer demographic. So it makes sense. I think the majority of what they do for Halloween should be in that cutesy, kind of childish place. But do I think that they could give us a few other offerings that are dark and kind of spooky, but a little bit more adulty, for lack of a better term, that are just a little bit more restrained, a little bit more mature? I think so personally. And that also goes into the fact that I think that their fragrances could be a little bit darker too. So I understand that there's a huge following for Ghoul Friend. I've never liked that fragrance. It's just so tutti fruity, like, ugh. I think Vampire Blood is good. Vampire Blood is a good Halloween candle. I mentioned that at the beginning, and I do think so. So Vampire Blood, the marketing is great. The match of the blood with the berries, it works. It really works. I liked the Candy Apple Cauldron. I thought that was fantastic too. The Spooky Moontini was like, I don't know that that one's gonna come back next year, but that's fine. Like, every time you bring out a new candle, it doesn't mean it's gonna come around every year. It was absolutely fine for this rotation. I don't know that it's one we're all gonna be clamoring for years to come. So you definitely have a slot there with Moontini to kind of revolve some fragrances in. I'd love to see Candy Apple Cauldron next year. I think it's probably a good enough fragrance to come around at the same time that Ghoul Friend does, for sure. But then you have fragrances. So last year we had this. Do you guys remember this? This moonlit. It's moonlit rather than moonlight, but Moonlit Graveyard. So this was a huge surprise last year because it's a almost off-putting candle, and it's one of the few Halloween offerings they've given over the years that is like leaning into the dark and disturbing Halloween kind of genre. It has like moss in it. Yes, tombstone moss, cold, foggy air, and eerie incense. It's a sweet candle, and it's a vanilla candle with some notes that are real Halloween. I mean, like true blue chip Halloween, not like dancing skeleton Halloween, if you know what I mean. And it was extremely polarizing. I mean, there were some people that are just like, what the actual fuck is this candle? Again, I don't think it's their consumer demographic, but they did have a not insignificant percentage of people who loved this candle. And I'm one of the people who was grossed out by it initially, but I applauded it because I thought that it was right for the season and for the marketing. And I ended up getting it in a single wick and really loving it. So I've burned it down like a little bit, and then I just closed it up and I put it in my drawer because I'm like, I want this for next year, and I'm just not sure it's gonna come back. And it didn't come back this year, and I'm kind of disappointed because they've got, with Ghoul Friend and with Vampire Blood and with Candy Apple Cauldron, they have 3 very sweet, fruity fragrances there. Did we need a Skittle candle on top of it? Really? Is there, as I said at the beginning, Halloween is a pretty big genre. It's a pretty big tent. Maybe a little bit more diversity in terms of fragrance and still keeping it within the main of Halloween. I would like to see that. This one right here has come out very successfully for 2 years now in the Naturals line, Spiced Pumpkin and Patchouli. And everybody thought, because of the patchouli, especially when it first came out, why isn't this in the Halloween line? And I do feel a certain kind of way with like immediately assuming that a patchouli candle needs to be a Halloween candle. You know, I know that for many people, patchouli, the association is Halloween, but I think that a lot of candle companies are now using patchouli in a lot of creative ways that are not necessarily super like 1960s hippie, and they're not also like overtly dark and spooky Halloween. And there are various different kinds of patchouli as well. There are higher and more refined perfume kind of patchoulis. And I love this Neutrals line, and I really think that Spiced Pumpkin and Patchouli looks great in this particular collection and should stay there. But this is the kind of fragrance, I wouldn't mind this being repackaged as something kind of spooky. Or even if you're not going to change the name of it, maybe offer it in this and offer it in like a spooky Halloween packaging with like jack-o'-lanterns on the front, or like spooky candles or ghosts or something like that, and just keep calling it Spiced Pumpkin and Patchouli. There are a couple fragrances that do kind of moonlight, not only as neutrals candles, but also as like regular floor candles under like different kinds of packages. This is a candle that I wouldn't mind seeing in a darker Halloween package. For those of us who kind of feel like we should be burning at something a little dark and patchouli-ish around the late October period, but also don't need like a full witch on the front and like craziness, right? It's like a sophisticated Halloween vibe. I would love to see that. I think Bath and Body Works can do both of them. And of course, I want to see these avant-garde ones as well. They're never going to be Kringle, but like this is a good example of like as avant-garde as I think Bath & Body Works can get while still remaining kind of close to their vibe. I think what they could do is, I mean, they come out with Halloween so early now. My gosh, it's late July. It's not even August. Remind yourself of when Halloween is. Halloween is October 31st. October 31st. It is July, August, September. Oh my gosh. It's like 3 months away. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I don't understand why Bath & Body Works doesn't do like a bigger fall offering in July to August before they do the Halloween thing, if that makes sense. So you've got like the early fall season, which is like apple galore. It's like the farmer's market, harvest, you know, honey, apples, fig, plum, all of those kinds of things go so well in that early fall period, right after summer. And then we start getting into like the deeper fall candles, like deep fall, pumpkin, squashes, acorns, you know, cranberries. Like we're starting to kind of currants. We're getting darker and darker as the season goes along. What I don't understand is why they're giving us Halloween before they give us like the big apple and honey offerings. I just think that's a mistake. I think they should give us at least a first wave of fall. Get us to like the plum, fig, apple, honey, you know, harvest, farmer's market kind of place. Get us kind of into September. It just, I mean, figuratively, it wouldn't be September. It would be like July to August, yeah? But it's like that September vibe. And then land all of the Halloween stuff. So we're talking, it would be a matter of like 2 or 3 weeks. That's it. So in August, you would still be coming out with Halloween a full 2.5 months before, you know, Halloween. It's still going to be very early, but I just think they do need that first fall wave as a chaser, as an opener before they land the Halloween, because at least in my mind, Halloween is a deep fall. It's a deep fall, and it's deep in that pumpkin area as opposed to the lighter apple area in the beginning. Okay, so that's kind of another little change that I'd like to see. But I do think that they could, when they do land all of the Halloween, the cutesy dancing skeleton Halloween, they can keep it exactly the way that they've got right now. But then like when it comes to those late fall waves of candles, some of those deep pumpkins, and kind of transitioning into the holiday season, I'm thinking like late September, early October, give us like just two mature-ish Halloween candles, 2. Because they'll be more avant-garde and a little bit more spooky, they perhaps will not have all the flanking Bath and Body Work products. Maybe they'll just be one-off candles like this one. This one, we don't need to smell like Moonlight Graveyard, but we would love the candle. And how fantastic would that be? I'm sure they would make some money because it kind of like refreshes the Halloween thing. By the time that we get to late September and early October, they're not going to have any more Halloween products on the floor, right? Give us 2. Give us 2. Give us a reason to come back into the store and let them be dark, deep, mature, spooky, perhaps even avant-garde fragrances. You can do your Moontinis and your Apple Cauldrons and your Ghoul Friends up in the beginning with all the flashiness, with all the fanfare, with all of the glitz and glam, but then drop a couple late Halloween candles that are just really fantastic and deep and not like tutti frutti, right? Okay, those would be my suggestions for Bath & Body Works to improve what they're doing in terms of Halloween. And I know that they will improve it because I just don't think that this commercialism for Halloween is going away anytime soon. So I think this is a really, really good way for them to improve going forward into the next couple years. And they showed us with Moonlit Graveyard that they are completely capable of producing some really deep, and with Spice Pumpkin and Patchouli, some really deep, mature, dark, spooky leaning candles. And they can probably do some great packaging that's not quite, like I said, Dancing Skeleton. It's maybe a little bit darker, maybe a little bit more subdued, just a completely different vibe than those early holographic kind of packages. So that's what I've got for you. I'm gonna stop the video now because we have gone about 40 minutes here, but definitely the big takeaway is grab a snake, especially if you just like snakes. But even if you don't, I just think this looks fantastic. Even if you're just like a straight up Halloween person, not necessarily a snake person, this is a best buy at $29.99. And if you've got one of those 20% off coupons, it becomes even more of a no-brainer. And especially ladies, if you might use something like this in your bathroom or with your beauty products, or I think this would probably be a really nice decor item too. I mean, you could probably use it in your kitchen, in your serving, and your dining room table. There's probably a million different uses that you could make of this, to be honest. And I don't really know quite how I'm going to use it, but at $34.99, I was like, yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it, especially with the 20% off. That's what I've got for you, friends. I too, like Kent, was very impressed, and it's not even my holiday, and I didn't really come home with anything except my snakes. But it makes me feel so good when the companies get it right. When they use their business sense and they give the consumer what the consumer wants, and everybody's happy. Bath & Body Works is happy because they make the coin, and the consumers are happy because they get products that they want. And such a profusion of them, and so many choices, and like, it's a great capitalist moment. I'm here for it. I don't care what company it is. And Kringle is starting to like give their various different offerings. I think they're gonna drop like maybe like first week of August and second week of August, something like that, you know. Kringle always knocks it out of the park with their Halloween. I think arguably it's the most unique and probably the most successful thing that Kringle does the entire year. So I want to mention Kringle in this respect as well. But it is really good seeing Bath & Body Works finally wake up to the fact that this is and can be and should be a huge money maker for them, and so easy. They do this kind of stuff all the time. So really great, does my heart good. That's what I've got for Halloween, my friends. I will catch you in the next one. I'm probably just gonna go ahead and record the next video, which is just a few candles that I picked up and some of the early fall wave candles that dropped last couple days. So see you in the next one. Bye.